Hello and welcome to this Migroto case review. My name is Damon Aryan, registered migration agent since 2013, and today we're looking at this applicant situation and see how realistic are his chances to receive an invitation for one of the GSM visas, subclasses 189, 190 or 491 in this financial year. Let's see what we have. The applicant's offshore occupation is Multimedia Specialist. The points claims or to be claimed is 85 points. Superior English with 20 points and 10 points for marital status. This review is based on Migroto data, all collected from official government sources and also some targeted FOI requests, all being supported by our AI tools. And before making any decision based on this review, please make sure you read the disclaimer at the end of this video. You're claiming 85 points for your expression of interest, with 20 English points and 10 partner or single points, which is a strong overall profile for Multimedia Specialist. After state nomination, Migroto calculates 90 points for subclass 190 and 100 points for subclass 491, which is helpful once states start inviting offshore multimedia specialists again. For subclass 189, your 85 points sit below recent 2025-26 invitations, where lowest observed scores were 90 in November and 95 in June. In 2024-25, the lowest invited scores were between 85 and 90, while 2023-24 only showed invitations at 95, so requirements have moved around over the last 3 years. With around 147 applicants ahead of you at 85 points, you're roughly halfway down the current 189 Multimedia Specialist queue. Migroto's 190 invitation data on this screen only includes offshore invitations that match your situation. Onshore invitations aren't shown in these records. For subclass 190 at 90 points, the 2025-26 offshore invitation records show lowest scores between 95 and 105, so you're currently below the observed cutoffs. Those offshore 190 invitations came from Victoria, South Australia, Queensland, and New South Wales, mainly favoring applicants with 20 English points and no partner points at those high scores. Earlier years were more flexible. In 2024-25, lowest invited scores ranged from 90 to 100, and in 2023-24 from 70 to 100 across multiple states. Backlog data suggests your midfield for 190 at 90 points, with roughly 6 to 47 applicants ahead of you depending on state, around the 29th to 61st percentiles. For subclass 491, Migroto is also only showing offshore invitation records that match your profile. Onshore regional invitations aren't included in this summary. For subclass 491, you're on 100 points after nomination, but there are no offshore invitation records yet for 2025-26 in your occupation. In 2024-25 and 2023-24, offshore 491 invitations appeared in Queensland, South Australia and Victoria, with lowest scores ranging from 80 or 85 up to 105. Backlog figures place you in the stronger 491 group, around 6 to 18 applicants ahead at 100 points, roughly the 22nd to 36th percentiles across the states. Multimedia Specialist is a Tier 4 occupation with about 100 people employed, low female representation, high median earnings, and a very sharp recent employment fall of around 54%.
FOI data for 2025-26 shows around 30 large 189, 8 large 190, and fewer than 5 large 491 Multimedia Specialist visa applications across Australia. Using your assumption that only about 70% of invitations turn into large applications, that's roughly 43 189 invitations, about 11 for 190, and fewer than about 7 for 491. For 189 at 85 points, Migroto estimates about 80 EOIs at that level, with 147 applicants ahead of you, around the 52nd percentile in the queue. For 190 at 90 points, total EOIs at your level are estimated around 166, and depending on state, you sit roughly between the 29th and 61st percentiles. For 491 at 100 points, you're in the upper part of the queue with about 152 EOIs at your level and percentile ranks between roughly 22nd and 36th. For 189, your 85 points are below this year's observed invitation range of 90 to 95, with around 147 EOIs ahead of you. If future rounds stay at those levels, invitations at 85 may be uncommon. I'd still keep your 189 EOI active as a long-term option, and update it quickly if your circumstances change. And for 190, your 90 points put you slightly under the 2025-26 offshore cutoffs of 95 to 105, but you're roughly midfield in the queue across most states, which keeps this pathway realistic if scores ease back. I'd treat 190 as a key target once states start inviting more offshore multimedia specialists again. Watch Victoria, South Australia, Queensland. For 491, your 100 points and relatively strong backlog position make this a serious backup pathway. There haven't been offshore invitations recorded yet for 2025-26, but earlier years show states inviting multimedia specialists from scores as low as 80 or 85. If 189 and 190 cutoffs stay high, overall, I'd keep your EOIs for 189, 190 and 491 active and aligned to your latest experience, then monitor new invitation rounds over 2025-26 to see whether scores drift back towards your level. Use this time to plan how you could strengthen your profile for state nomination through work experience, further study, or future Australian ties, so that when states broaden offshore invitations for multimedia specialists, you're in the best possible position to be selected. 491 may become your most practical first visa outcome, especially if regional states reopen offshore nomination for your occupation. Queensland and New South Wales, and be ready to meet any extra state requirements as soon as you're eligible. You can legitimately reach around 90 points. Treat any 189 invitation as a bonus rather than something to rely on.